How to talk to God. How do you talk to God? Have you thought about it? Have you considered praying to him, which is basically a conversation with God, and he often answers many of us through his word, his holy word, or through supernatural experiences. Or if you're very blessed, then audibly you can hear the Lord's voice. I've never audibly heard the Lord's voice. He speaks to me through his word and through my thoughts, and he brings understanding to my heart. But have you actually thought about how to speak to God? And this specifically relates to when you pass away and you come before the throne of God. How are you going to speak to him? And if you start off, and if you've never thought about it, when you come before a holy, eternal God, you'll probably start off by saying something like, well, I was a good person, Lord. That he's going to get very angry at. He's going to be very vexed if you say that to God, oh, I was a good person. Because his word, which you probably never bothered to read, tells us that there is none good, not one. So you might then start off and say, well, I did good deeds, let me into heaven, Lord. He's going to get very vexed and angry at you for that also. How do I know that? Because in his word, which you probably, again, never bothered to read while you were on the earth, spending your days in vanity, it tells us that our good deeds are filthy rags. You cannot present filthy rags before the throne of God and expect to get into heaven. So now you may ask, well, what can I say to this holy, eternal God who's good all the time, who's righteous and holy and pure eternally? If I can't say I'm a good person and I can't say I've done good deeds, what can I say to this God to get me into heaven? Well, first of all, your motivation to get into heaven is all wrong. Wrong. Because while you're on the earth, it shouldn't have just been about inheriting a city of gold, a kingdom of gold, the kingdom of paradise of God. It should have been about the relationship between you and your Father in heaven. That is the most precious thing you possess other than your soul, is your faith in Christ, your relationship with the living God. And if you establish that relationship with the living God, and don't spend your days in vanity, but establish that relationship with the living God, who, if you're born again, is inside you, you're his holy temple. If you bother while you're on the earth to establish that relationship with the living God,